Title: Scourge and the Shadowclan Kit. Chapter 1. The Discovery. Scourge, the fearsome leader of Blood Clan, prowled through the dark forest, his eyes gleaming with malice. He had always been a solitary cat, preferring to rely on his own strength and cunning rather than forming alliances with other clans. But on this particular night, something caught his attention. A small, trembling kit lay huddled in a patch of moonlight, its fur matted and dirty. Scourge approached cautiously, his curiosity piqued. The kit was from Shadowclan, he could tell by the scent that clung to its tiny body. What was a Shadowclan kit doing so far from its territory? The kit looked up at Scourge with wide, frightened eyes. It was obvious that it had been abandoned, left to fend for itself in the dangerous forest. Scourge felt a pang of sympathy for the helpless creature. He had never been one to show mercy, but something about this kit tugged at his heartstrings. Without hesitation, Scourge scooped up the kit in his jaws and carried it back to his den. He knew that taking in a Shadowclan kit would be seen as a sign of weakness by his followers, but he didn't care. He couldn't just leave the kit to die alone in the forest. Chapter 2. The Caretaker. As Scourge settled the kit into a warm nest of moss and feathers, he couldn't help but feel a sense of responsibility towards the tiny creature. He had never cared for anyone or anything before, but there was something about this kit that made him want to protect it. Days turned into weeks, and Scourge found himself spending more and more time with the kit. He taught it how to hunt and fight, showing it the skills that had made him the feared leader of Blood Clan. The kit, whom Scourge had named Shadow, quickly proved to be a quick learner, picking up on his lessons with ease. Despite his tough exterior, Scourge found himself growing attached to Shadow. He had never had a family of his own, but in a way, he felt like he was finally experiencing the bond of fatherhood. Shadow looked up to him with adoration, following him around like a loyal apprentice. Chapter 3. The Comedy of Errors. One day, as Scourge and Shadow were out on a hunting patrol, they stumbled upon a group of rogues who had been causing trouble in the forest. Scourge knew that he had to protect his territory, but he also knew that Shadow was still just a kit, not yet ready for battle. As the rogues closed in, Scourge stood in front of Shadow, ready to defend him with his life. But to his surprise, Shadow leapt forward, his tiny claws unsheathed. With a ferocious yowl, he attacked the rogues, driving them back with a fierce determination. Scourge watched in awe as Shadow fought bravely, holding his own against the much larger rogues. It was clear that the kid had inherited his father's fierce spirit and determination. Scourge couldn't help but feel a swell of pride in his chest. After the rogues had been driven off, Scourge turned to Shadow with a smile. "You fought well, my son," he said, his voice filled with pride. Shadow purred in response, nuzzling against his father's side. And so, Scourge and Shadow continued to roam the forest together, a fearsome duo that struck fear into the hearts of their enemies. But deep down, they knew that their bond was stronger than any battle they could face. They were a family, united by love and loyalty, and nothing could ever tear them apart. The end.